Hello, my name is Naa Adjeley Gborjorr, and today we are going to do another book review. Now, before I go into the review itself, I would like to give you a little bit of information about the author and how this book came to being. Around the 1960s, Marion Kilson, who actually put this book together, was doing some work with a gentleman called E.A Ammah on gun culture. She's released quite a few books on various aspects of gun tradition and culture. And what E.A Ammah did was provide her with some of his articles and manuscripts. Some of them had been published in Ghanaian newspapers, but not all of them. And I think this very act in itself tells you a little bit about the author, about how he had culture, he had information, he had knowledge, he had all these things, and he decided that he wasn't going to keep it to himself. You know, very often you have people who were like, if you can't pay for the information, I'm not going to give it to you. And they would rather die with the information. And a lot of, African history in general has gone with people who have died. They say when an elder dies, a library burns down, or it's like a library that burns down. But he did something amazing. And because of that, even though this man has died, Marion Kilson realized how much knowledge there was in his work, and it was something that needed to be released. And she compiled all his articles, all his everything, and created this book that I'm going to review, which is called Kings, Priests and Kinsmen by E.A Ammah. Now, E.A Ammah is considered to be an authority in gun culture and history, and when I finished reading this book, I can see why. And one question I really did have was, I wish this guy was alive. I wish this elder was somebody that I could just fly to Ghana right now and speak with him, because I know he had so much insight on what gun culture was and what it meant. In this book, there is so many different things that I had not even really heard about. I think the first time I heard about the creation story, the gun creation story, was in this book. He talks about the gun calendar, how it came to being, ancestors' inheritance, marriage in gun society, 60 years of gun politics, during puberty rights, funeral customs. He talks about every aspect of gun culture, even water in gun ritual. And he's not just talking about it the way that other people talk about it. He had insight into gun culture and was able to write from a perspective that is very different to other writers. He had a deeper understanding of what it was we did and why we did it. And he was able to also compare it to other political systems, other cultures. And it shows how widely read he was. So this book has now officially become my favourite book on gun culture and history. And I understand it's available in the UK for £30, and if you want to buy it in Ghana, it's 40 Ghana cedis. So obviously, if I'm going to say this is now officially my favourite book on Ghana history and culture, there's only one number I'm going to give this book, and it's a well-deserved number. So for this, I give it a 5, and in the Ghana language, we call it 5 anymore. So 5.